Hi, welcome to today's rune and tarot pick. So closing your beautiful eyes, just take a moment, take a breath. And let's find out what we're working with today. Let me see. Okay, we're working with the rune naudiz today. So naudiz is all about your soul needs, and it can represent where we are perhaps restricting ourselves with what we think we need, and in that then not being able to actually allow to flow to us what we actually need and what is there for us. So this is making me think about the word growth. So when we look at when people are on a journey, I especially hear this a lot where they're like, I just want to grow. People want to find out what their purpose is, constantly searching and looking for something. So that might be a need to go and travel the world, or a journey within yourself. So it's accessing whether it's an external need or an internal need. The two go hand in hand anyway. So just bearing that in mind, and we'll pick a card that goes with it. But I think I know what thread we're working with today. So how are you feeling today? Are you feeling like, so I want to talk about rigidity with this. So it's, if that's even a word, when you are rigid in a thought or an idea, it can actually prevent what you really need from being apparent to you, from being seen by you. Okay, so 7 of Pentacles. So you have been doing some work on yourself. You've been working really hard on on your growth, for instance. Now, with growth, I want to say it's a bit like, say, for instance, making a pudding or like a cake or something, right? So when you decide you're going to do that, so you decide you're going to grow, you decide you're going to better yourself or find out more about yourself on your journey. And it takes time. Do you know what I mean? You can't just decide, oh, I'm going to suddenly work through all of the experiences in my life that have brought me trauma, or, you know, there's things that you have to go through, there's experiences that you have to work with. So you could call those the ingredients, okay? So these are the experiences, are like the ingredients that go into the mixture. And that takes time to acquire. You can't just, sometimes you don't know what it is, what ingredient you're going to need to work with it to grow. So once you have worked out a certain amount of ingredients, I don't know, we could call it flour, eggs, sugar, okay? So that might be working through something that was traumatic. It might be changing friendships or relationships. And it might be changing what you do for a living, how you work. So say you've got those 3 ingredients and you decide to start making your cake, okay? Now, it's going to take time for that to be put in the oven. And if you're too hasty and you don't really properly go through the process, then it's not going to turn out the way that you want it to turn out. It's going to turn out not quite what you expected, not quite as good. And what that can lead to then is a disheartening. It can lead to a feeling of failure. It can lead to a feeling of, what's the point? Nothing seems to work. But you only tried with those 3 ingredients. You didn't explore. You didn't research or look into what other additional things could go into that. So you're stood here with all these pentacles, things that you've done, things that you've achieved. Yes, you've worked really hard. You have achieved a lot. But you're not there. You're not fully there. You've got more to do. But that doesn't mean that you have to go and do something really extravagant. It doesn't mean you've got to go running out the door, chasing a different country, going and living on a surfboard in the middle of the ocean or whatever. Yes, those things are experiences, and I'm sure you get something out of it. And actually what I've just said there sounds really quite cool to try. But this is about finding those real soul needs. And I think I said yesterday is about what you want right now is not the same as what you actually need most. So have a think about where you are restricting yourself, like keeping yourself stuck in a way of thinking that you think you're supposed to be, who you think you're supposed to be, because you've told yourself that's who you are and that's how you live. But actually, it's not really aligning with you anymore. Something's changed there. There's something more that you want to achieve. Maybe something has happened that is kind of conflicting now with what you think you want. And maybe you just really don't know what you want. And that's a good indicator then of growth. It's a good indicator of you've reached a point of consciousness where you can actually say to yourself, like, something's changed and I don't know why. So then you can actually start to work with an uncomfortable way of being, as to actually explore what you wouldn't normally. Change the pattern. Do something that you wouldn't normally do. And you will open up a completely new way of being. It's a bit like a story about a man, an old man, who's got all this land. He's got all this lovely, luscious, well, that's not luscious, it's barren. He's got all this land. But because he was so absorbed with what he thought he needed, which was to stay in, everything went to shit. Everything just sort of got barren. He didn't know what to do about it. He didn't explore how to do anything about it. He didn't make any changes to it. He just thought, this is what I'm supposed to be. This is how I am. And one day he went out into that garden and he allowed himself to feel, and he cried. He cried and cried and cried. He allowed himself to grieve for what was there or not there. And it's through those tears that flooded himself, and actually through watering that environment, it brought life to it, and it gave him new life, and he was reborn again. And he was able then to enjoy what he didn't think he could ever have or ever enjoy. So the more you restrict yourself in what you think you can have, you've got to open your heart, open up more. Yes, you've achieved so much. Yes, you can still move in that direction, but is that really what you need right now? Is that really what you need most at this time? Don't settle for just what satisfies you at this point. You're feeling empty. You're feeling not fulfilled. And you know what does fulfill you, but you're not sure if it aligns with who you told yourself you are. So have a little think about that. And we can go deeper into this reading if you wish. So please do get in touch and we can do a reading today if you like. Blessed be.